folks, this Thursday morning for me. Soap of the day comes from Van Yulay. Name of this one here is Jared. I have the scent profile down below. It's got like, I think, a white musk if I remember right, Mandarin orange, lemon. It's a fairly soft soap. There's a lot more to the scent profile down below. It's a very cologne type scent. Very nice. It's named after her son. Like I say, I've got it down below. You may want to take a moment to read that one. Got the alum block, no rubber band. Unscented witch hazel that's methylated. Also got the matching aftershave. And if you're not familiar with her, with Monica's aftershaves, they do not contain alcohol. And still using the Shaven Sailor beard oil. I have it whipped up over here. Also a bowl from Van Yulay. That's what it looks like on the inside. These bowls come in different colors also. Got it whipped up here with an Omega S brush. And very much in a, I guess you might say, a yogurt type consistency. Got plenty there. There's a lot in that brush, even though that knot is small. There's plenty in there. I'm also using a Vanta Shavette. It takes a full DE blade. That's what the shank looks like, if you will. It's very thin across here in comparison to many other shavers. The does have a couple of posts right here for the scales, so it doesn't flex. It does have a full blade. Matter of fact, I've been using a Lord Extra, which is Teflon coated. I'll show you at the end. It's really easy to load the blade, take it apart, clean it. Not only that, it's also pretty easy to use. It's a one of those shavers for me that if you can find, I think Maggart's has got these. I'll have to put a link down below. Hunt it down. I got mine through Gifts and Care quite some time ago. And back when I got mine was right about $15. I think they're running nowadays maybe around $16 from Gift and Care. And I think Maggart's, if I remember right, in the neighborhood of $25 maybe. Of course, if you order from Gifts and Care and have it shipped to the States, the shipping is not exactly cheap. So you may have to do a price comparison to see which way is going to be better for you. But for those folks that perhaps don't like snapping a DE blade in half, just makes you nervous just because it is a razor blade. I have not had any issues snapping them in half, but just in case there is somebody that likes just to leave the DE blade intact, or if you just had one shave with a DE and now you're taking the blade out of that DE and putting it into this shaver here, in other words, get some more use out of the blade, even though you're only going to use one side of the blade in a shavette. But in my opinion, it's very easy to use the shavette. It is a little different with the shank being as thin as it is, but I found it, oddly enough, it seems to be just fine. In other words, it didn't feel awkward at all. I enjoy shaving with it from time to time. It's just one of those shavers, what can I say, that's relatively easy for me to use. The excuse me, the way that the where the blade is loaded at, it is the toe and the heel to a degree is covered up. In other words, making it a little bit more difficult for you to cut yourself. And for me, as long as I work coming down at an angle, especially somewhere right about in here, sometimes here on my neck, and over here where those creases are at, as long as I'm coming at just a slight angle, at least a slight angle, I don't nick myself or cut myself. And On this side, you can kind of tell that the toe and heel is covered. Then on this side here, you can kind of see also that it's not really exposed, making it a pretty nice shaver for somebody just starting out. Help you with the angle a little bit. Oddly enough, also I probably should point out, starting with a DE or a single edge shaver, I have a tendency to start at the sideburn. And for whatever reason, with a Shavette, I have a tendency to start at the goatee. I couldn't tell you why, it just seems natural to me. If this would make any sense to somebody, shaving with one of these kind of shavettes, you might feel that your shave is a little bit milder than one that has the blade exposed for some reason. This is a really nice shaver. When I got this, the idea was just trying to get something different, and just to try it. Didn't really know what I was getting myself into. Had not really given it much thought about the toe and the heel of the blade being covered up, but realized after I got it that this is a really easy shaver to use. Speaking of shipping, I had noticed that on the news, not trying to get into politics, but about the, I guess you might say our government here in the States. So it's talking about changing some of our postal agreements. So in other words, for instance, the big beef was, stuff that's shipped from China. The cost of shipping it here through the postal system is not the same as if it was shipped here in the States. The price is different, and sounds like that might be changing. Something to think about if you're ordering stuff from China. If you if you haven't tried any products from Van Yulay, and if you do like cologne scents, this would be the set to get. In other words, if this was the only set that you would get from her, and you like cologne scents, this would be the one to get. I don't have all of her scents by any means, but when it comes to cologne scents, this one here is really nice, and you can only imagine that since this one here is for her son. She put a lot of effort and passion into this, so it really does smell great. The Preshave for these products that she makes are just really nice, and I do like the idea of the aftershave running right about the $10 mark. Makes it very affordable. And I do have several of her soaps and aftershaves. I think I've got a neighborhood of 30, somewhere in there. I've got quite a few. Really enjoy, I guess you might say, the affordability and quality of her products. I mean, face it, when you're looking at an aftershave that runs you around the $10 mark, and it's what, I think 3.4 ounces? No, this one here is 4 ounces. And other aftershaves that they're running, even $15 to $25, whatever the case might be, whatever going prices some of the aftershaves are that you're looking at. This is a darn good buy. In other words, you can pick up more aftershaves at the $10 mark. Pass number 2. Typically, I do a 2-pass shave with a Shavette. On occasion, I may do maybe what might be considered a 2.5 pass. In other words, I may go across the green on the cheeks, sometimes just to practice. For the most part, when it comes to a Shavette shave for me, I'm getting the bulk of my whiskers on the 2-pass shave. I really don't have much left at that point. And to me, the with the green pass and against the green pass are pretty easy, relatively speaking, with the Shavette. Across the green could be problematic for you, especially down here on the neck. And if depending on your growth, how your beard growth is, I know mine grows every which way, so sometimes I got that little strip that comes through here on each side, more so on this side than this. And if you have a hard time doing that across the green pass, just have your favorite shaver, whether it's a DE, single edge, whatever the case might be, and just pick up that little part right there and be happy with your shave, I guess you might say. Just because you're starting out with this doesn't mean you have to finish up with it. But for the most part, I consider my shaves sociably acceptable. We're just fine. In other words, at the end of the day, can you tell that I shaved with a Shavette versus a single edge or a DE? Even though I didn't, pick up those little spots. No, you can't even tell. Of course, I do have quite a bit of gray hair, so you might want to keep that in mind too. So in other words, if your beard growth is dark, you might have a different experience. Yeah, my dark beard went away a long time ago. I guess you might say losing my hair on top of my head and getting gray hair came early in life. And I do only shave with the dominant hand. No way do I trust my left hand with a Shavette or anything else sharp in there. No, it's not happening. I tried it a few times. I can't bring myself to do it. I don't feel like I have enough control with that left hand. Now I know some folks do quite well using both hands, and it's amazing to see them shave like that. For me, it's like, no, just one. Stretching is another thing. For me, pushing down just that little bit and then kind of twisting my head that way is about all the stretching I really need. Sometimes I feel like I tried before, like really stretching, and I kind of felt like I overstretched and caused myself with a little bit, just a tiny bit of irritation, just enough where I notice it. And if I notice it, even though nobody else might notice it, that's what's important, what you notice. So my stretching versus what others do will be different. It just depends on what your needs are. So my stretching might be closer just to holding my skin taut. It might be another way of looking at it. I don't, against the grain is usually about where I do any kind of buffing strokes, if you will. Guess you might say it feels more natural. This is really a nice shaver to use. I know I've said it before, but it does, to look at it, if you've used some of your other shavers, that you've been using with the Shavette or even with the DE, because you're so used to the roundness, as this is not quite the issue that you would think that it would be. As it goes for the blade here, blade alignment, putting it in, this is so simple. This is just a sliding mechanism. You can kind of see right there, it just slides right off. As it goes for cleaning, all you need is something like a tissue. Just slide through there, rinse it off. It's really easy to keep clean. You can kind of see where the two posts are at on each side. It just fits right on there, and it just about, you could almost describe it as a snapping it in. It's a snug fit. There's not any play once you get that blade in there, and just getting it out is relatively easy to do. Like I say, it does not take much to clean this thing up. You can kind of tell there, it's really simple. There's plenty of room in there to clean the scales out. If you get quite a bit of shaving cream in there, it's just a, man, it's a quick cleanup. Really like using it. I don't think I give it enough praise or use it enough from time to time compared to some of my other shavers that are, I guess you might say, better known, more popular, if you will. It's just that it's such a mild shaver. Sometimes you feel like you want a closer shave, a more aggressive. It's almost like going from your Gillette Tech, you know, your mild shaver, to an R41. There's a huge difference in between the shaves, and it's been quite a while since I'm trying to get back in that routine that I used to have, or usually do have. In that, usually, you know, Monday through Friday I'm shaving with the Shavette. Saturday I'm shaving with a single edge, and then on Sunday with a DE. And then of course the month of December coming up, so you know, I always have that problem, that internal discussion, if you will. Do I want to keep a Sunday open for Shavettes, or do I want to go ahead and go the full month with DEs? And because I do get to mess and shaving with my Shavettes. I mean, once you get it kind of sort of under control, shaving with the Shavette is the satisfaction when you get done. It is, I mean, you're shaving in such a manner that that was done many years ago. That's the only thing they had was a straight razor, and this will be very similar to it, and that satisfaction that you're able to get that kind of shave in. It's a different shave, I'm telling you. It is different. I don't think this alum block's ever going to go away. It's kind of like if you ever had some hard puck soaps. I tell you what, those hard puck soaps seem like they last forever. It's the reason why the Razor Rock, What the Puck, in my opinion, those are excellent values, because it'll be a very long time before you finally get to the bottom and finish it off. Yet it's let me tell you, they're pretty tough to make go away. A great value, and especially since you can get 3 of them. You catch them on sale for what, $8.99? 3 of them for $8.99. That's a darn good buy. And I think they normally sell each one for what, $5.99 on Italian Barber. That's a great value. Yeah, I don't know, you probably can't see up in there, but in other words, cleanup on this is pretty simple. And as it goes for, let me see if I can show you. It's got big reversed here and on this itty bitty screen here. All you have to do is just line things up, especially those posts. And when you're sliding across, just pay attention that you can kind of tell where it's notched out right there, that you don't push this down a little bit and catch the top of your edge of your blade. It's not that it's possible, but it is a little difficult to do. If you're just paying attention to what you're doing, there's nothing to it. Slide it right on there, and it covers both ends of the blade too, so you don't have to worry about catching yourself up here either. Like I said, pretty nice. The only thing that it'll be may want to pay attention to in this one here, if I had a complaint about it, is you might be able to tell the edge of it comes out at the bottom, so you will have to pay close attention to that. Otherwise you grab a hold of it and you'll end up cutting yourself. It won't be good. My boy, see, I just shook it up so there's a little, it's right about there. It's gonna be sad because I'm trying. We were talking a little bit, Mandy and Alex and Tony, we were talking about stuff to buy and whatnot, and not going to buy, try not to buy, I should say, buying freeze, if you will, until the next year. And it's going to be difficult. I mean, because you know Black Friday will roll around. There's going to be fantastic bargains, buys, something new will roll out. And one of them in particular, of course, you know, what, just days after doing that, Douglas puts out that he's going to be establishing his stock of his Stirling razor with the new plates, the two. And I've been on the fence whether do I want to try the new plates, do I not want to try the new plates, because I struggle with getting a shave without getting scratched up with it. So I have, you will have to shake our aftershaves, by the way. Really been struggling on that one there, so whether I break the buying freeze and go ahead and get the two plates, and I've also been thinking about getting another handle. In other words, go ahead and buy the full set. So I have two handles that I can use wherever I feel like I have need, because the weight of the total weight of the Stirling, if I remember right, basically it's just right at an ounce. It might be just a tiny bit over an ounce. That's pretty lightweight, which means that the handle is lightweight also. And that's what I was thinking, is using that lightweight handle perhaps with my 3D printed shavers that I've got with the cap and head. You know, that would be a good match, if you will. Just to switch it up to see what kind of different feel, if any, using a handle like that versus like my stainless steel handle that's got quite a bit of weight behind it. I do enjoy the weight, I have to admit. That's the weight. You know, I've said it a few times, and you know, if you're relatively new to watching this, letting the weight of the razor and the sharpness of the blade do the work for you, and I do like it like that. Because once you get used to it and get your technique down with a shaver like that, your shaves become so easy. Just letting that heavyweight razor, just, you know, the sharpness of the blade just slice right through. You just keep your angle. Just, you know, it's awesome. Great shaves when you figure that out. In other words, a lot of this is learning what works best for you. Your pre-shave routine, to me, is important. What works best for you, figure it out and stick with it. Even though, let's say, the majority of the folks go a different direction. Say like somebody's pre-shave routine just might be little of nothing, just wetting the face and getting busy with it. And if that works for you, that's fine. But for me, I found that, and my towel's just a washcloth. It's not real big. But I put it in the sink when I'm filling it up with the hot water. Put it on my face for a minute. What I do is I just count to myself for 60 seconds. Typically about that point in time, especially even right around the 30-second mark, I notice that the temperature of my face is starting to equalize to the temperature of the towel, and I just keep it on there for the 60-second count, and it seemed to work just a huge difference in my shave just by doing that alone, and been doing it ever since. It works well for me. Whether you use a pre-shave or not, it's just something. A while back I'd had a sample from Douglas that I've had for a while, decided I'd start it, and you know, just giving them a try to see how they work for me. And I know for some soaps it seems to make a difference, some not so much. So whether you want to use a soap or a pre-shave oil, you know, just you got to do some trial and error, some testing, if you will, to figure out what works best for you. And you'll be amazed. You know, take your time, figure out what works best for you, what kind of lather. If you like the big thick lather, that's fine. Or if you like the thin lather like me, that's well, like I say, it's a yogurt type consistency, and sometimes a little wetter where it might be a little drippy, but slickness and glide for the razor, especially with a shavette or a straight razor, works just fine for me. Works better than a thick, big thick, losing my train of thought, a big thick foam, if you will, lather. For me, I guess you might call a little thinner, a little wetter works better for me. Alright, I'm running out of time here. My battery's getting low. Hope everybody's doing well. Stay safe and smooth shaves to you.